So you're probably wondering what's going on with Mega Man. You know, a week ago, AlphaOmegaSin did a video where he talked about the fact that the fourth Mega Man game has been cancelled, codenamed Maverick Hunter. And if the footage is exactly what it was planned to be, that he showed, if it was exactly what it was planned to be, then obviously it would have been good. There's no doubt about that. It would have been good. It would have been fun to play. I mean, if you're a Halo kind of fan or a Metro Prime kind of fan or whatever, this would have been your cup of tea or coffee in some manners. But unfortunately it did not happen. And here's why. True, AlphaOmegaSin's not the only one to report this. It's been all over the internet. But here's why, in my opinion. Here's why you have constantly had 4 games canceled in the past few years. Here's why you've had this happen. You've had it happen because of the fact that 24 months ago, and you may think this is crazy, but this is just from personal opinion, that 24 months ago, the very first issue of Mega Man by Archie Comics was released. Now, I'm not trying to knock Archie Comics or anything. They're a great comic company, but there's one thing that holds them back. And it's one thing with licensed properties that hold the licensed properties back because of that. And it's the fact that Archie Comics has mainly and always will be an all ages comic book company. You know, they're not like Marvel, they're not like DC. You know, they're not like Top Cow, they're not like Wildstorm. They're not like, you know, Image, Vertigo, you know, you name it. They're not like any of those. They're not like Radio Comics. You know, they're just their own entity, and a majority of the titles that they publish, whether it's their own or it's licensed like Sonic and Mega Man, is mainly because of the fact that they're an all ages comic. Actually, I was trying to say is, of all the titles that they, because I'm still waking up here, and also my teenage nephew's here, because I don't want to wake him up. But it's apparent. But basically, it's because of all the titles they publish, whether it's their own or the license, one thing that they all have in common, whether it's their own titles or the licensed titles, is all basically published as all ages comics. That's what they are. That's essentially what they are. They're all ages comics, and whether we like it or not, that's mainly what we're stuck with. You know, we can't, demand things change any more than we'd like to. But personal opinion, that's what's sort of holding Mega Man and titles like say the codenamed Maverick Hunter from happening. It's mainly because of the fact that as long as the Mega Man franchise is associated in some way with an all ages company like Archie, then there's no way you're going to I apologize for the bird background. I apologize for the bird in the background out there, but as long as Mega Man is associated with an all ages comic or an all ages company like say Archie Comics, it's not going to change. nothing's going to change. You know, you're not going to probably get these games that you want because of that association. Because basically, here's the thing. Fans, if they see something like Maverick Hunter, are going to expect to see the same thing in the comic, but they can't. But the problem is, because the fact that Archie Comics is presenting Mega Man the way the way they are, basically staying true to what the character looks like and who he is, if you will, then right now, in my personal opinion, that's what's holding back a lot of these titles from happening. Because essentially what this all ages comic is, if you want to go by video game ratings, Mega Man and Sonic are mainly like E plus 10 ratings, if you will. Either overall E rated comics or E plus 10 rated comics. Or if you want to go from a television standpoint, Y7 comics. That's what they are. And if you're thinking of taking something like Mega Man and giving it a format similar to Halo and Metroid Prime, then you've got another thing coming. Because I guarantee you this: until RG Comics license runs out with the Mega Man franchise in Capcom, and Capcom decides to go explore other possibilities, other companies, if you will, then, there's not much you can do. I mean, sure, Ian Flynn has said that they have given him and Archie a lot of creative freedom to do whatever they want, almost. Well, not exactly, but to do the majority of what they want. But even still, being an all ages comic, they have a reputation to keep. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could probably say, well, if Archie's an all ages comic, then why did they publish certain stories in Ninja Turtles? Well, you see, it was still a bit of an all ages comic, except Ninja Turtles was a bit of that Y7 / almost PG borderline PG kind of product. Because, yeah, they did showcase some things in there that they normally wouldn't, especially in the Cyber Turtles arc. But the point is, besides that, a majority of it wasn't that bad. Like I said, mainly it was Y7 borderline PG. I mean, you take a look at some of the things, like some of the animes and Western animation shows that have come out in the past decade. Some of them are, even though some of them are Y7, some of them are borderline PG as well. You kind of get what I'm saying. But seeing as though Archie Comics is an all ages comic book company, and since they have the license to adapt, they've licensed the Mega Man franchise to adapt, if you will, even though they've been, as Ian Flynn put it, given a lot of creative freedom, they're basically, and I hate to say this, it's just a personal opinion, they're holding back Capcom from going through with these titles. I mean, Maverick Hunter, let's face it, would have gotten a T rating. And do you think, honestly, because of the association with an all ages comic, Capcom's going to want to say, okay, let's put out a T rated Mega Man game? No. They're going to say, can't do that. We can't do that. Or even a T rated, or heck, even almost M rated. Well, I seriously doubt, but could a borderline on that game? No, of course not. They're going to say, nope, we can't do that right now. Let's scrap it, try for something else. And I seriously don't know what else that could be. I don't think anybody else knows what that could be. But in all honesty, we just gotta wait and see. I can understand a lot of fans like AlphaOmegaSin, those that have read the news articles on this. I know a lot of people are upset. I know a lot of people are disappointed. Believe me, it's crazy that Capcom would cancel a fourth Mega Man game, especially since it's the 25th anniversary of the franchise. But then again, when you're associating your franchise with an all ages comic book company or an all ages company of any kind, then you do have certain guidelines you gotta keep in mind. Even though you could say, if you tell that all ages comic book company or all ages company, hey, you can do whatever you want, we're giving you all this freedom, you still know deep down that you have a reputation to keep, that you still have guidelines. And as much as you would like to bring out Maverick Hunter, games like Maverick Hunter and such, it's because of that association that's holding you down. Now I know I'm probably going to get some flack about this, and they're going to say that's not the case. That might be, it might be true. You might be right about that, but think about it this way. For 2 years, Capcom has had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to release a Mega Man game. Nothing's happened. But what has happened? And I ask you, what has happened in the 2 years, though, that has been positive? Oh, that's right, the publication of Mega Man by Archie Comics. And what is Archie Comics? Unlike Marvel and DC, they're the third biggest comic book company in the world. But the biggest difference is they're all ages. They're essentially, basically, how do I put this? They're the Star Comics of. They're basically the equivalent. They're basically the equivalent of being the Star comic book division of Marvel. That's what they are. Maybe a little higher up, but still, you get what I'm saying. You see, as much as we don't want to probably look at Archie Comics possibly being part of the blame, we got to take it into consideration that they might have to share it. Not saying it's totally on them, but they have to share it. And there could be other factors as well that you could blame for what's going on. You can blame Capcom's Japan division. You can blame Capcom's American division. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you blame. Someone's got to take that blame. And not just Archie. I will admit that you can't put the entire blame on them, but you can put the blame on the fact that they are an all-ages comic book company, and right now they're the only ones so far that are publishing Mega Man. I'm sure if you would have gotten Mega Man associated with, say, IDW or Image or one of those Top Cow, one of those independent companies, other independent companies, that things would be different, and perhaps he would have more freedom. Perhaps you would get something like a Maverick Hunter released as a video game. But again, this is just my personal opinion, and what I feel is basically that partially due to the association with Archie Comics is why Capcom has canceled 4 games and more specifically the fourth one being the Maverick Hunter. So let me know what you guys think about that. Comment below, and I'll talk to you later if I can.